Hello, and thank you for joining us for our second episode of Row House Presents. Today we're going to be talking about The Boy in the World from 2013, The 39 Steps, the 1935 original, as well as About Time, also from 2013, and the currently streaming first run, so 2020, Bacarau.
My name is Brian Mendelson. I am a programmer here at Row House Cinema.
My name is Delana Obermeyer, and I'm also a programmer here at Row House Cinema.
I'm here to talk about Boy in the World, 2013 animation that came out of Brazil. Really, 2016 it released here in the US, and we actually showed it here at Row House. Story is a boy whose father had to go to the big city to go to work. The boy decided to go find his father, goes on a little adventure, and ends up in some anonymous city. So this movie was directed by Ale Lebrew, who also wrote it. It was his second feature film. And here's a few clips from that movie. I've never seen a movie that didn't have much of a plot and didn't have any dialogue, but I've never been so engaged with a movie before.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's not just how beautiful it was, and the sound that was amazing as well.
I think universal is a good word, though, because I think it just kind of taps into something in you, and it just, because I was on the verge of tears literally from like 2 seconds into the movie, and then the last quarter of the film, I was just straight sobbing. So like,
I was too. I don't know what it was. Yeah. What is it about that movie that just blows you away?
Yeah, I mean, I think that anything that examines like time and the human condition and memory and that sort of thing, like automatically just kind of sticks with you. But I think that, especially like, not to compare it to The World of Tomorrow, that both of those films are through like a child's point of view. It's just really sweet, but it's really sad. It's got a childlike innocence, but it's not unaware of like the evil in the world, I guess. Like it doesn't ignore those things.
Oh yeah, I mean the journey is not a pleasant journey, if you will.
Yeah, no, and I would say although it's a somewhat hopeful film, I would say it's really an indictment of a lot more things than anything.
It gets pretty deep, doesn't it?
It does get pretty deep. I mean, it definitely, first and foremost, its environmental stance and just anti sort of industrialization, deforestation. It takes a lot of stances, like, for what is a children's film, you know?
Yeah, and this is, we're calling it a children's film, but this is definitely adult themes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely engaging for adults, probably more than it is for kids.
Yeah, overall, it definitely works on multiple wavelengths, which I think why it works for both children and adults. Because I can't see this film lending very well to like trailers necessarily, besides seeing like the
trailer
style.
does not entice you to want to see this.
Right.
I remember when I saw it in the theater, the friend I saw it with, we both walked away. Just first of all, we didn't say a word, and then after like 20 minutes, she just told me, she said that was the greatest thing. And it's the best movie I saw in 2016.
It was definitely one of the most like moving and just like, I don't know, I just really appreciate simple, like tight storytelling, and I feel like that's really what this is, because it's like what, an hour 20, which was like perfectly paced. I didn't feel like it was too long or too short or anything. Being an animated film with no dialogue, it's like you see lots of shorts maybe that are like that, but then thinking about an hour 20 movie, it's like, how do they do that? But I think that the themes of, you know, the fact that music and stuff like that plays such a large role in it is definitely important.
Yeah, for me it was kind of like reading a book in the sense where your imagination goes and you picture it. This was, it was using film to give you enough to where your imagination goes wild, and it just really, I've never seen a film like it.
Yeah, I almost feel like if you're an adult that's typically drawn to like magical realism or something, that this will probably appeal to you. You know, it sort of made me think, going along those lines, I read I don't know, it just made me think of this Salman Rushdie, Haroon in the Sea of Stories book one time that, you know, it's under the guise of being like a children's book, but really it's, you know, but I think that those simple to the point stories are really sometimes the most effective at getting into those deeper places. So I think that's why this is ultimately so successful. Yeah, I think it just works in so many ways, and I love it.
So would you recommend this?
Oh, absolutely. I recommend it to like anybody. I mean, just know that you'll probably cry, but I recommend it.
Oh, but in the best way. It's the best cry.
It's not like it's not a manipulative, like tear jerking kind of movie. It's you're just like moved to tears more than like brought to like be so sad, like to tears.
It's so beautiful, I think. Yeah, it's what kind of made me cry. I would absolutely recommend this film. This is, like I said, the best movie I saw in 2016 and one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. This film is available to stream on Netflix.
The next film we're talking about is Alfred Hitchcock's The 39 Steps, which came out in 1935. The 39 Steps starts off in London, where we meet our protagonist Hanny, who gets wrapped up in a spy plot after a mysterious woman is killed in his apartment. Once he is accused of that murder, he takes his journey from London across the moors of Scotland to seek out a man that the mysterious woman had mentioned she was going to visit. And so while he tries to figure out the plot to uncover and reveal some important British intelligence, he's actually handcuffed to a woman that wants to see that he is locked up. It's the classic handcuffed to your nemesis plot. So we'll show a few clips from that first.
I fired those shots.
You what?
Yes, to create a diversion. There were 2 men there who wanted to kill me.
Really, you should be more careful in choosing your gentlemen friends.
No, you don't understand.
Well, you don't make it very easy for me, do you? Beautiful, mysterious woman pursued by gunmen. Sounds like a spy story.
That's exactly what it is.
There's been another woman murdered in a West End flat. What? Woman murdered in West End flat.
Well, I suppose you think you've been damn clever.
Officer, will you tell your prisoner not to insult me,
You
please?
try and stop
You
me.
come along with me.
Couldn't you realize I was speaking the truth in that railway carriage? You must have seen I was genuine. Again.
I see. You're still sticking to your penny novelette spy story.
There are 20 million women in this island, and I've got to be chained to you.
I mean, I assume you like this movie.
I love spy movies and I love Alfred Hitchcock, so this is always high on my list. This is a great Bond thriller if you're into that sort of movie. The setup of this movie was really bad. Badly filmed, badly edited. I feel like they must have, there's no way Hitchcock was okay with that.
Yeah, it didn't draw me in from the get-go, and so then I had sort of a hard time. Like, I like the handcuff moments of it. I think that like once it gets into that, that's where it kind of gets exciting.
It builds up. The movie builds up over time, and you get more and more into, you kind of like him, and your like for him grows. I would say for me it did.
Yeah.
I think it was really interesting that things did not go well for him at all, but he still fumbled through the plot, and it was still good, suspenseful, entertaining. By the end of it, I was in. I was hooked.
No, I will say that there were certain moments that just were so like deliciously like Hitchcock that like, you know, like at the beginning when the mysterious woman is first in his apartment and, you know, she's avoiding the windows, she's trying not to be seen, and then this, you know, loud sort of piercing 30s telephone just is ringing just nonstop in the background, and there really isn't much in terms of music. Earlier ones like M or something, like music really isn't a huge part of at least the scenes themselves, maybe as transition sort of elements. So 30s film always kind of interests me in general, just because it is like kind of right after the advent of like a major part of cinema. It's like the addition of sound and things like that, but little bits of, I guess, later Hitchcock are sort of planted in this, where I think that there are moments in the beginning that kind of hint at that, like the phone ringing. It takes a little bit to keep building, whereas I think that later on, like my favorite Hitchcock is Shadow of the Doubt. You know, with that one, I think that think I'm more satisfied with the building of the suspense from the get-go. But I mean, so I definitely like it. It's a classic. It's like a good Hitchcock film to see if you really like Hitchcock and sort of want to dive deeper into his thing. But I definitely I don't see it as a jumping off point for Hitchcock.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I mean, my favorite Hitchcock film is North by Northwest, which I see a lot of this movie in. I mean, obviously this is 30 years before that,
Definitely,
but
though.
it's the same plot of this man just happens upon a spy plot and gets pulled into it and is physically and mentally capable of handling it. Never loses his cool, never sweats, his hair's always perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect gentleman.
Right. I mean, the woman who like dies at the beginning, who's only trying to do something good. It's interesting that she's the brunette and that the woman that is sort of his, like, she's not quite a femme fatale, but like just the types of those women seem flipped in the film, which makes it interesting. Like her being, you know, you would expect, you know, sort of the typical like later Tippi Hedren type blonde for Hitchcock, like to, you know, sort of just go along with the handsome lead, and the fact that she is like sort of his foil, I think makes it really interesting.
When they first meet, she was like, yeah, this is the guy.
Right, right off the bat.
Yeah.
She's not here for it. I would recommend it to people who already like Hitchcock and want to see some more and stuff. I definitely, you know, it just wasn't, it just made me want to watch other Hitchcock films basically while I was watching. I still really liked it. Glad I saw it and everything again. And definitely, you know, that handcuffed to your nemesis kind of trope is brought up time and time and time again. And as far as I know, this is the earliest instance of it.
Yeah, I would agree with you that it's a mediocre Hitchcock, and I would recommend it as well to see. It's entertaining. It's worth watching. It's not his best work.
Yeah.
But his mediocre work is better than most spy thrillers you'll ever see.
Definitely.
Probably still above most James Bond movies.
Yeah,
So,
true.
Yeah.
You can find the 39 Steps if you have a subscription for the Criterion Channel, Hoopla, or Prime, and you can see it for free on Roku.
So our next film is About Time, directed by Richard Curtis, which is a 2013 classic. It starts us off as an 18-year-old is celebrating New Year's Eve. His father tells him he could time travel just like all the men in their family can. He could go back into time at various points in his life to relive it and to tweak and change things.
But there's no butterfly effect.
Oh yeah, they just write that
They
off.
just say right out.
Yeah,
That's not
don't
a
worry.
problem.
Don't worry. In it, he takes advantage of this and he goes back and corrects things. Some of his corrections have consequences. We follow their love story over the years and his ability to manage time travel while going through this.
There's this family secret, and the secret is that the men in the family can travel in time. And what about the whole butterfly effect thing? What can I say? We don't seem to have messed up civilization yet.
It's going to be a complicated year.
You have to use it for things that you really think will make your life the way you want it to be. Come on, really think about this.
Well, to be honest, I suppose for the moment, it would be just great if it could help me get a girlfriend. I thought this phone was old and shit, but suddenly it's my most valuable possession.
You really like me?
It's not a plot killer that I'm reviewing that he meets the love of his life in this.
Oh yeah,
and they go through ups and downs.
Right.
Because Richard Curtis is famous for writing such films as Love Actually, Bridget Jones' Diary, and Notting Hill. So I have a confession to make. The first DVD I ever bought was not Run Lola Run like All My Friends or Pulp Fiction. It was Notting Hill.
Oh my God.
So
incredible.
After watching About Time, I immediately said, this seems so familiar to me.
Yeah.
And when you look it up, you're like, that's why it's so familiar to me. So, Delana, you chose this film.
I did.
And I must say that I was a little surprised when you lay on me this incredibly pop, charming love story. I watched The Bachelor on TV, and I'm proud of that fact. I'm okay with that. And I didn't know you did too.
So I had a crush on Domhnall Gleeson for sure, and I don't know, I just liked, it's so pleasant you don't even have to think. It's like a beach read of a movie. It's like, and it's a rom-com with, I think it was because it had the time travel element that I was willing to allow myself to be like,
It
it's
made it a
fine.
little edgy.
Yeah, it's a sci-fi rom-com.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched it in a few years, and watching it again, the dialogue was somehow even more like saccharine than it was before.
So charming.
It's so, and it's
How
so
does this-
like the banter is
Yeah.
just the banter.
I wish I
is
talked
so-
like this. What would the world be like if we all talked like that?
And Rachel McAdams just constantly saying she looks like a squirrel and like all those parts. It's kind of like Love Actually, like where if you think about it too hard, you're like, that's creepy, or that's not okay, or that's like, I don't know. So, don't think too hard about it. Don't think too hard about the mechanics of his time travel because
because
it's
they're
riddled
all-
with plot holes. They have like one or two rules that they decide apply a couple times throughout the film.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy watching it, even if you recognize that it's not technically a great film?
Hey, it wasn't until about 5 minutes into the movie I was like, oh, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
It's forgettable,
Oh, definitely.
but at the same time, I enjoyed it.
Oh, I know. It's like I recognize that it should go against everything that I typically like.
I am still
And
shocked
it
that you
just-
chose this film.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, if people are watching like horror films and everything, like that's what the studios are putting out to, like Universal and everything. So I just feel like now I was like, you know what? I want to pick something that's just like, like, wow, that was just
So you're saying this
nice.
is like The Natural, but with a little time travel put
Yeah,
into
there
it.
we go.
So would you recommend this film?
I would say yes. I would recommend. I mean, if you're cynical and like to, well, no, if you're cynical and like to make fun of things, then watch it and make fun of it. I don't care. And but if you like A Christmas Prince on Netflix or any other Hallmark films,
That movie was terrible.
yeah, that movie is.
It's terrible.
This
I
movie-
watched that film.
Yeah.
And I was not happy. Yeah, and I would recommend this film too, just for that exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would not recommend this for someone who's like, what's a good movie? What's the best movie
Right.
of 2013?
No.
This would not make the list.
No.
But,
no, Boy in the World.
Boy in the
much
World,
better
that
than
was
that.
that-
Yeah.
that was that film.
Yeah.
So About Time is streaming on Netflix. So watch it there.
Next, we're going to talk about Bacarau, which is actually a brand new film from 2020. It's Brazilian. And the film starts with the death of the town's matriarch. Certain villagers who went elsewhere a long time ago maybe returned. The community has sort of all rallied around this woman. They're all together now, and right after that happens, mysterious things start happening around the town. Their village is suddenly wiped off of any GPS. They can't find themselves on digital maps anymore. They begin seeing UFOs kind of flying around, and finally there seemed to be a mysterious group of mercenaries that are infiltrating Bacarau. Let's watch some clips from that. I'm not going to go into any more detail. It's definitely a go in blind kind of film, so we'll take a look.
Boa tarde, amigos de Bacarau.
Cada pode vir aqui pegar o mantimento que precisar, tá? Vamos usar a consciência, tá bom?
So this is Bacarau.
Quem nasce em Bacurau é o quê?
É gente.
Por que vocês estão fazendo isso?
There's so much you can do with a knife.
A gente tá sendo atacado.
So I wasn't a big fan of this movie.
Really?
So I feel like this is controversial because everyone who's seen it's loved it. But I felt that this plot is so overdone and so tired. We get to know the villagers. We like the villagers in a small rural town. And then this evil force from outside comes in for some whatever reason. And then the villagers get together and rise up and, maybe with some outside help and save the day. I like the way they broke up this film in 3 acts. They spent a lot of time on the first act getting to know the villagers. They spent a lot of time with these mercenaries and kind of the mystery things that's happening. And then the end, where the villagers rise up, was so short and sweet. Typically with these kinds of movies, it's more trying to be action oriented and focus on that third Porsche. Well, the third Porsche was done in 10 minutes.
See, I liked that though because
I liked it too.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I think I was going for this film.
Right. Well, yeah, no, because I think that it does sort of blends this Brazilian like fable kind of, you know, more realist sort of view with like this, you know, sort of over the top like exploitation sort of element. So I think it bounces between genres a little more than this typical, I guess, plot that you're saying does. There are small moments that attempt, I think, to humanize the mercenaries, but they're not successful because that's the point, I think. Like, I think that it's like, no, we're not gonna both sides this thing. Like, there are people being oppressed in this and they're just not gonna take it. And I think that it lasts for such a short amount of time because those mercenaries so underestimate these people that it's over so quickly because they, you know, in fact, I think what we think is going to happen is what the mercenaries are also thinking the third act is going to be, and then they're robbed of that. But so I think that the shortness of it is actually how sweet it is because it really isn't a difficult evil to overcome. They just really have to work collectively, and that's really all they had to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought it was fascinating, and I felt like I needed this film right now. Like, this was like, I get when we try to humanize multiple sides of a situation, but there was just something about like, no, like these villagers are in the right. It gave me the same feeling as Inglourious Bastards, as Green Room, as Mad Max Fury Road. It's like this, it's not a revenge film, it's like a retribution film.
Okay.
And I think that that type of film, like those films that I just listed off are some of my favorite films in general anyway. So I think that type of the rightful sort of right, whatever, you know, if that's your side, rightful retribution story, like kind of, that just really speaks to me.
One thing I will also say about this film is the character development I thought was really interesting, where the story opens up on this woman and guy driving a water tanker truck, and she seems like she's going to be the focus of this movie, like the femme fatale or the main character, and it follows her through this journey, and it doesn't. It like she becomes no longer important after the first few minutes, and I feel like the characters evolve over time who it focuses on. They're almost like the village was the character.
Right, that's what I was just gonna say, and I think that sort of this idea of a collective is very much because I think that especially in Hollywood film, the individual is usually the focus.
I felt like what was interesting and the things that I was enjoying about the movie, they just forgot about it and let it go. And then they kept on introducing new ideas to, you know, with the mercenaries and the sci-fi stuff, and then the ending. I just lost interest in the film.
But I would definitely recommend this film. So I, you know, it just hit a way that I needed. It had like a sort of satisfaction to it, I think. So.
Well, I can say I don't recommend this film.
Yeah. So you don't recommend this film? I don't
recommend this film.
Even though we're showing it at Row House,
I know,
you know how honest we're being if that's the case. So, yeah.
But it is showing for another week until April 9th, rented on Row House online. So thanks for watching Row House Presents. We'll be back next week with 4 new films. We'd love to hear your suggestions and comments below. And, you know, we look forward to talking with you then.